Yo, welcome to VOTV episode 3. This is Voice of the Village. I'm Trey Hunter.
And I'm Tyree Hollins.
And welcome to episode 3. So this is a Legends edition, excuse me. We got two of our worlds, our basketball world in our area, two GOATs, greatest of all time, and literally some numbers and accolades to go back behind it. I'll let Tyree introduce our first guest.
Man, like Trey said, man, it's an honor more so than anything, man. Considering, where I come from and the things that I had to kind of endure in my life, I never really thought I'd be, amongst some of the great energy and the things that we got going on right now. So I'm thankful for it, but I'll get on and introduce one of the greatest of all time on our entity. We got Mr. Kenny Natt. Mr. Kenny Natt is a professional NBA basketball player along with ex-interim head coach for the National Basketball Association, which we call the NBA. Mr. Natt is a person that's from Bastrop, Louisiana, was a star basketball player at Bastrop, Louisiana. We went on and signed a Division I scholarship with NLU, which is Northeast Louisiana University. We call it ULM. And we'll talk a little bit about that, the difference between NLU and ULM. The 6'3", 185-pound guard was drafted second round, 30th pick by the Indiana Pacers in the 1980 NBA draft. Mr. Natt has over 20 plus years of playing and coaching experiences in the NBA. Mr. Natt also coached some of the greatest of all time to this day. And I'll name a couple: LeBron James, the Kobe Bryants, and the list goes on. He also played with some of the greatest of all time. Man, I can just go on and on about Mr. Natt. After he left Cleveland, after 3 seasons, he went on and coached with one of his teammates, Mr. Reggie Thetis, where he did a couple years over with them. Mr. Reggie would let go. Mr. Natt stepped in and became the interim head coach for the Sacramento Kings. Again, I can go on and on, but more so than anything, Mr. Natt is a professional guy. He's a family guy, but more than anything, he's a God-fearing guy. And I'm just excited to be in his presence with y'all, man. So thank you and welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, sir.
Truly a pleasure to be here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So I'll introduce our second guest, which again in the area is a GOAT, another part of the home team. Shout out to, ULM. So if we talking about the history of the area, you hear one of your uncles or even granddad talking about he was that dude in basketball, he was a bad mother, tell him to shut his mouth. This is that dude. We talking about now not just one of the greatest in our area, but literally one of the best high school players touted in the nation, in the history of the U.S. Mr. Bobby Joe Douglas has records that probably won't be broken. We talking about looking at how the game is going. We talking about development wise, or it'll be even longer before they're broken. So he is number 1 in the state and number 1 nationally with average points per game in one season. This man averaged 54 points in every game, at least 54, or average 54 for a whole season. He's number 7 in the state record rankings and 14 nationally with career total in high school over other NBA and basketball legends like Robert Parrish, who's also a Louisiana great, more points. He's number 1 in the state and number 2 nationally, also in most points in a loss. So we talking about a tough game. I'm gonna get into that too. I'm gonna ask a couple questions about that. Of going to work and you lose, but this is the most points by a losing participant in the state as well, and in the quarter. So he had 36 points in one quarter in high school. Highest, man, that's unbelievable. So we'll get a little bit more into that. Again, this is a Legends edition where we got two, again, great leaders in our area, from our area. Again, God-fearing men that are prime examples of what what our area breeds and examples of what to follow for sure. So I'll just go into it of career wise. I'll start with Mr. Douglas. What was a big take? I won't get to further into career. We'll start from the transition from high school to college ball. What was one of the biggest takes from being, again, I'm that dude, to the college level, kind of starting over being a freshman in college? What was that like for you in your experience?
Well, again, thanks for having us. It's just us a joy to be around younger minds as well, who's doing some great things in the community with kids. That's important. I think one of the things, great takeaways, you had other guys that on the individual level that was just as talented.
Right.
Bigger, stronger, faster. You know, and as you climb the ladder, everybody else is climbing as well. Guys that you perhaps have never played against, and you see him for the first time, and who perhaps didn't have a coach like I had say, hey, you have the green light. And a lot of guys are held back, but could have the green light.
Right.
You know, so that was one of the takeaways that I ran across. And of course, you run across guards. I'm like 5'9". You run across bigger guards like 6'3", you know, 6'4", 6'6", etc. So that was one of the takeaways. Yeah, that was huge.
From that too, being a star player at Baxter, and then of course again you played with your brother. He was another star that was with you. What was that like, being able to be on the same team with your brother, and both of y'all goes over to your NLU together at that time? So what that transition was like, being able to play with a sibling of yours, but also being able to go to college over with y'all, together and play on that type of level.
Well, first I'd like to commend you guys for what you guys are doing here. You started out, and it's great to have this opportunity to come in and visit with you and share some input, answer some questions from you guys. We'll probably have some questions too. Ourselves, because the transition from high school into college, for me personally, it was a fun transition from Baxter to college, because I had the opportunity to move in and be a roommate with my older brother Calvin. So he's just 1 year ahead of me. So we were roommates for 3 years there at the NLU, and then we had the youngsters coming in a little after that. But it was a great experience. Needless to say, for me, the personal side was the pressure that Calvin put on me. Calvin was high school All-American.
Right.
I mean, people have to understand, high school All-American.
Right.
One of the best high school players around in the country, and being a sibling 1 year behind, people expect you to produce that same type of performance. So I dealt with a lot of personal pressure from that standpoint, following in the footsteps of Calvin, and everyone called me Little Natt. He was Super Natt, I was Little Natt. You know, so I was always considered, okay, I have to step my game up. And that was a good thing about it, because it challenged me.
Definitely.
It challenged me to say, okay, you know. And Calvin was one of my, and still remain one of my top supporters. Always encouraged me. I had a harder road than he did, because Calvin's All-American. When I got to NLU, I was just a freshman, and it was a veteran team. Calvin and a lot of my teammates from the year before me, Jamie Mayo and Alvin Tansey and Eugene Robinson, these guys were all there, so I had to follow in their footsteps and wait my turn. And then I had my first experience with feeling that I should have been the starter.
Right.
Because in my high school, I was the lead guy.
Right.
And that's a huge adjustment for most athletes
Definitely.
at every level when they make a transition in from one level up to the next level. Their expectation is that they'll get the opportunity. I didn't have the opportunity like BJ. Have the green light, you know. So
Well,
to speak.
in
I mean,
college-
if you
in
want to
college
call
it was
that a
taken
green
away.
light, I don't know what kind of light that was. I mean, that wasn't a green light. That was
No light.
No light.
No light, no yield, no nothing. No nothing. Do you? No.
But I had to play within the system, and I'm sure BJ can relate to that because once you get to that level, it's a different coach.
Right.
You've
Right.
got to conform to what the coaches are asking you to do. You're not going to agree as a player with everything that the coaches are asking you to do.
Right.
But to be a team player, that's what you have to do. You have
Be
to
coachable.
conform, be coachable. So that in it, the long version of it, it was a great transition for me, but very challenging.
Right. So, what was your youth sports experience like? So when you played, I don't know, was it rec ball or what?
Out behind the house.
Right. So what was the first age playing organized basketball?
Well, I organized. I was in the 8th grade.
Eighth grade?
First organized 8th grade, and 8th grade, and I started playing high school basketball on the varsity team in the 8th grade as well. Now it was not that we couldn't play. We did just back in that time. We didn't have any organized, basketball. Of course, during the summertime, we would end up playing against each other, if you want to call that organized, because I thought it was the best skill development during that time, because you got older guys that you're playing against. They coaching you along the way and stuff like that, and then of course you playing against other guys in the community. So you had like community rivalries in the area as well, and so. But early age was 8th grade.
8th grade.
Yeah, man, it took off then.
Yeah. So, Coach Dan, what about you?
Well, unlike BJ, I mean, he had an opportunity to probably get around a bit more than I did in Calvin, for whatever reason. I don't understand. But being in Bastrop, we were like home. Our parents kept us more in a cocoon and protecting us and didn't allow us to go beyond. Making a trip to Monroe was like going on a long distance vacation. I mean, really.
So, but why would you say that about?
I didn't have the
I'm
freedom.
just saying, freedom.
I didn't have the freedom to go and roam and compete against a lot of, like you said, the older players, mainly the guys that we competed. Calvin and I coming up was there in Bastrop. They were just guys that were still around in the community, and we did eventually. Once Calvin signed at NLU, we started making the trip at that time to Monroe and competing against the guys around here and the pro professionals like Larry Wright and others who came home. We were still in college. I was a freshman in college. Calvin was a sophomore, and we're competing against the likes of Larry and the other guys who were playing professionally that returned home. That in itself, that's why one of the things I always tell younger kids is always try and play with someone better than you. And, instead of being content with being the best player on the court. If you really want to elevate your level of the game, you have to try and compete and play with others. But that was the gist of the youth experience coming up, introduced to the game by a female, Miss Inez Grant, and she introduced both Calvin and I to the game of basketball. And the unique thing that I want to make this statement is because you never know who can influence you.
Definitely, never know.
And I'm talking to the public as well. The impact that one individual can make on your life
100%.
can be so rewarding, as well as it can work against you if those people are are directing you wrong. So I had a great youth experience, and again, having the opportunity to transition with my brother Calvin, that was an extra
Right.
caveat to it.
I guess I was gonna say more so, after the game, what was that transition like? When you done playing college ball, you transition into the league. What was that transitioning like from playing college to now you're in the NBA? You get an opportunity to get drafted, and just what that whole experience was like for you.
Well, number one, having an opportunity, thank God, having an opportunity to be blessed to be selected, following after a brother who had just gotten drafted in the number 8 pick in the draft overall in the country. It really focused me. My senior year, I became a starter for the first year in college. My senior year. Other than that, the previous 3 years, which was a learning experience for me because I had a lot of bitterness, I should say. Every day in practice, in the games, because my brother Calvin was a starter and he's playing, and I'm competing in the practices, and it was apparent that I was a good player and I needed to be a starter, but what I didn't know at that time. So I was playing behind one of my teammates from Arkansas, Texarkana, Arkansas. He was one of the Pickett brothers. And I was playing behind John Pickett for 3 years. And in my mind, I had to, Calvin said, keep working, Kenny, keep working. I had a brother, to motivate me.
Right.
We're laying there next to each other in the dorm room.
It's different than just a regular friend.
Stay with it. He gave me that encouragement, and so every day, it was a battle, making in practice and having an opportunity to fight for your position, fight for just 3 years, and then when Calvin got drafted into the NBA by the Nets. I'm going into my senior year. I said, I've got to make this a great year. So for the first time I started, I ended up averaging, 21.6 or something along those lines for my senior year. And then have an opportunity to go to the Louisiana All-Star game where all the seniors in Louisiana played, and being able to, that was the same year that Andrew Toney came out. Andrew Toney came out and he did not play. I want to make sure everybody understands. He did not. We played against each other during the season, but he did not play in the Louisiana All-Star game. So I did, and I became the MVP. I earned the MVP in the NBA in the Louisiana All-Star game. I think I scored like 36 points. I had about 8 or 9 3-pointers, and I received a lot of recognition from that. After the game, my agent was contacted, and that was it. But I'm saying all that to say things don't turn out all the way to your path the way that you think they should. And to me, Calvin had the opportunity to start young and grow and become one of the elite players in the country, and he set that path for me. But it was very challenging for me. It made me a very strong person in endurance. Needless to say, crying nights and things of that sort. But it made me a stronger person. That's why I try to encourage young athletes today to keep working and plugging, and things will turn out in your life. Particularly when you got God on your side. My mother and father always made sure that we had that in our heart and coming up. And I tell you, Lord really brought me through a lot. And leaving NLU, Monroe, Louisiana, and then my agent telling me I had to go to Indianapolis, Indiana, because my name was called, and as the 30th pick in the draft. I had no one in Indianapolis, Indiana, never been there, never whatever. So you go into those situations, you said, how does it feel? It feels, it's a scary situation.
Yeah,
It's a very scary situation,
Culture
nervous,
shock.
culture shock, as well as you're now in the NBA competing against guys that's just as good, if not better than you. In your first camp, your rookie camp, needless to say, that's the rookie camp. Now the vets came later. So it was a scary, but those are experiences that I really cherish, you know, coming up. And as I said, I'm thankful to have the opportunity to share my life experiences and be able to shed some light on what this transition is like for young men and young women who may be looking to aspire to become a professional athlete, whether it's in basketball, football, baseball, it's all the same. You know, the track you have to follow. So I'm looking forward to continuing to do that, having come back home now.
It's definitely needed. It's one of those things where we kind of base our whole model off inspiring our youth of giving examples. You know, we talking about the village, we talking about the success stories in the village in order to plant them seeds to breed more of them for sure. It's what everybody, you know what I'm saying, that our kids need to know that what can come from here. It may get lost over time, or literally some people may not know, you know what I'm saying? So it's our job of even bridging those gaps in relationships and what we trying to put out to the village for sure.
Yeah, and again, just piggyback on Trey, like the word pressure been kind of flowing through me since you said it. And that's just one of those deals where, you know, pressure sometimes is not, you know, a negative aspect. It's positive, because think about your process throughout you hearing your story throughout the whole process. It sounds like pressure, but it has cultivated you to be and molded you to be who you are and who you guys are to this day. So, you know, for those that's out there that has a hard time dealing with pressure is a good thing. Pressure, you know, either make diamonds or bust pipes. You have the opportunity to choose which one you want, and you hang in there, you keep working, like you said, you keep working, you keep, you know, trying to stay positive in the midst of those challenging situations and moments. It end up working out, because again, there's a God too, and with God, all things gonna work out. So eventually, it has no choice but to work out. You know, so
pressure is a normal thing, but as we all know, pain hurts.
Definitely.
Our feelings, emotions, and all of that come into play. It's hurtful. But the point we're making is you have to go through some things sometime in order to get to the next.
So let me throw this out, because see, like, and that was just one thing that, you know, you had other players and etc. But, you know, think about it, from 54 and you coming off the bench. Now, one thing you know you can do is shoot. You know you can shoot. Yeah, I mean, no questions asked. I mean, it's in the history books. And so to go from that to coming off the bench, and oftentimes not having a system around you. And you talking about pressure and how you have to divert that into something positive. Now, I eventually left from the best scorer in high school to the best defender in college. You know, and that played a huge aspect in my life. You know, of course, everybody would like to shoot it, but if you can't, then what you gotta do? So perspective, man, it's perspective. You know, and then you have to learn how to take what's given to you and make the best out of it. You know, because at the end of the day, you still want to be on the court, you still want to play. You know, so
I love it.
So again, for all young players out there, what can you can't always control the situation you go into. So what kind of value can you be for your team, for your coach, where your talents don't go unnoticed? Your work ethic, literally that's being a team player. Like he say, he go from averaging 54 to being another guy that's a part of the journey, you know. So what can you elevate in your game or even in your mindset that can have it work out the best way that it can for you? Definitely. So I diverted a little bit to even in your journey outside of the game, both of you, tell the village a little bit about what you've done after the game, of course, apart from coaching in the NBA, and where you are now, what you're doing now.
Well, I mean, when I stopped, of course, because of this guy right here, you know, when he would come home during the summertime, you know, from the league, we would always end up playing one-on-one against each other. I mean, in college. So, you know, and that's every summer. We would always end up in doing that. And of course, I too was, you know, like went to the All-Star game,
Right.
and was the MVP at the All-Star game. When the coach found out what I did in college, man, he set me up. I ended up having like 33 points, you know, stroking it like I always have done.
Right.
You never lose it. And ended up doing that. And so, but now, what I'm doing now, I am coaching. I'm still in the coaching business, sports arena, Union Christian Academy in Farmerville, Louisiana. But I've been all over. I've been at Sterlington. I was at Sterlington because I had a son to play at Sterlington. I was at St. Fred for like a year as well. But I tried to hang up my shoes and I couldn't do that because when I would go to a game, I saw guys that I said, man, he can't dribble, he can't go left, he can't do this. And I said, well, how you gonna go to the next level if you can't do these things? So I started doing some skill development. And so I do that as well. So outside of coaching, which I've been doing for ever since I've been back, of course I do skills development. And as well, I'm in the ministry. You know, I've been pastoring for like 31 years, been in the ministry for like 32. So when I was in the professional ranks, I wanted to leave that to come back home and start working in the community, start helping some people, you know, that I saw that was perhaps having some more downward time than upward. So I got off into that, man, and that has been a great blessing in my life, you know, and one of the most beautiful things that I think I've experienced since then. You know, one of the guys at this school that I coached, he was out of school for, I guess, maybe 1 or 2 years, maybe 1 year. Man, I just baptized this guy the other day.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah, it's impact, man. You know, and that's what you want to do. You know, you want to take your gifts, your talent. You take all of that. You take what you've gone through, what you call pressure a lot of times when you're talking about other people overlooking you, where you take that and you pour that into someone else's life, and you teach them how to overcome this kind of stuff. And so that's what I'm doing now, you know. And of course, Ken and I is also partnered. Of course, I felt like he needed me to be in a kind of way successful in what he was doing with his skills training, because we kind of partnered and we doing some stuff together now with kids, some of the same kind of stuff that you all are doing. And we're doing that now together as well, and that's just a great honor to have, to be connected with him like that as well. So that's what we do, and I still play a little. Yeah, I still play a little, still shoot a little bit. You know, can't put it down, and and I said, man, I'm gonna need to, because I'm tired of taking these guys hard.
Right. Stay with the cleats.
For real, same with man.
Yeah, so that's the story, man. Yeah, that's the story.
Yes, sir. Coach Natt, give us a little bit more your other ventures, IMG, and all the way up to what you're doing now.
As I said earlier, sometimes things happen for a reason. Things don't go quite the way that you anticipate and you'd hope that it would go. But God made a plan. After leaving Sacramento, the Sacramento Kings was the first time since I left NLU as an NBA draft player. That was the first time that I was out of basketball. In 2009 was the first time that I had an opportunity, either I was on the floor as a player, on the floor as a coach, because I coached for 15 years after leaving the court. So it parlayed me. I was able to for the first time, take my youngest daughter to school in the morning, pick her up in the afternoon.
Right.
What an experience.
Definitely.
And this is after having another child over, and it took that to happen for me to realize just how much I had neglected my oldest. Not being there, taking her to school, picking her up in the afternoon, going places, because I'd be gone sometime 2 weeks at a time. And then I come in and we may have a game that night. And I gotta come in and I'm sleep. When they come from school, I'm basically sleep, and then when I leave to go to the game, and I won't see them until maybe after the game, or sometimes they wouldn't come to the game because they had to get up and go to school in the morning. But it's just those experiences, man, where the game itself, I don't think that everyone realized the dynamics of it. We are human players, athletes, regardless of the sport. They're still human. They have family. They have emotions. They have more money in their pocket, but as those songs said, more money, more problem. That's true. That's true. Because I mean, it brings a lot of challenges and things of that sort. But it made me a stronger person, have an opportunity to the NBA and IMG World, the parent company of IMG Academy. IMG Academy is just one of 12 different entities of IMG World, who has pro soccer, pro tennis, pro all these other sports. IMG Academy is a high school in Florida. IMG World called the NBA Coaches Association after I was fired from the Sacramento Kings and asked if Coach Natt, they asked if I would go over to India and coach and teach the national team in India. So that was a challenging thing. I accepted that opportunity to go over there and do that. I was there for like 13 months. Learned a lot about the Indian culture and traveled the world because we played in the FIBA Asia championships and things of that sort against Korea, Iran, and Lebanon, and I mean we played against all these teams, and it opened my eyes. That was a negative opportunity getting fired from the NBA. But such a positive opportunity to get to experience some international play and go internationally and coach Indian players and coach Indian coaches. So those are the things that after being in India for that 13 months, I had an opportunity to go to IMG Academy. The academy. I was down there for 4 years running that basketball program. And I had enough because it took me off the basketball court completely, pretty much. So that in itself was a blessing because it opened my eyes that this is the level of training that kids are getting in high school, at IMG Academy. And I would travel back and forth to this area, my hometown, and I'm watching games, as BJ said earlier, kids couldn't use their left hand, right hand, kids can't really shoot. And these are the things that all my career, as well as at the IMG Academy, we're teaching these kids these things every day, drilling them on these things every day. And I'm saying to myself, there's no way that our kids here in this Northeast Louisiana region can compete against those kids because they're getting such an elite level of training. So that inspired me. The Lord brought us back here to this area, to try and share this knowledge and this experience
Definitely.
that I have, and try to elevate the level of play and skills of the young aspiring athletes here in the area. So that's what I'm hopeful of getting. BJ and I have partnered together. We old teammates, played in the professional ranks together, and now we're back together here in town, teaming up to try and elevate the level of competitiveness for our kids, because we want them to enjoy some of that. We know what it is out there. There's a lot more than what you're seeing here. And so we're hopeful of elevating, using our experiences to help these other kids have an opportunity to inspire in their lives.
And what's the name of that program that you speak on with you and
It's called DNET.
D-Net?
Douglas Natt Elite Training.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. D-Net.
DNET.
D-Net.
And we really partnered up on this, and we're going to be doing a variety of different things like 3-on-3 and other
So we
events.
know we have one coming up September the 2nd.
Absolutely. September 2nd, we'll have our inaugural 3-on-3
Okay.
event going to be held in Sterlington, and we're hoping to move it around to different areas as we advance. As you know, he's from Marion, I'm from Bastrop,
Right.
so eventually, hopefully, we can go to Marion, Bastrop, and other areas and have this 3-on-3. But our primary thing that we do with DNET is we like life skills training.
Right.
It's more than just sports.
Definitely.
Basketball, football, baseball, whatever. You have to prepare yourself to become a well-rounded, complete athlete. That's what DNET is about.
Right.
Touching the complete athlete. Yes, we're going to help you and elevate your athletic skill, but it's just as important for us that we become mentors for you and help you to become better people,
Right.
prepared for the
Right.
challenges that we know
That's gonna
you're
come.
going to come ahead. We already know that, so we want to make sure that we become like bridge builders.
Definitely.
And
Definitely.
prepare for the future of these young men and women. So we're excited about DNET and what we're going to be doing.
Definitely, man. We'll definitely update the village on more as you all come out. I got one more thing from each of you. Give me, I say, your top 2 career highlights. It doesn't matter which level of anything, coaching, playing, anything. Top 2 career highlights.
Man. Wow. I don't know if it was the 93 points
And what?
in one game.
In one game.
Oh my
I
God.
don't know if they without a 3-point line. I don't know if it was that, or I don't know if it was a 7-7 Class C against a Class 4A Neville High School, and lost by 1 point. And I had the shot and threw it to a guy under the basket because he was open, because I like passing, you know.
Come on, Kobe. Yeah. Shoot the ball. 79. Shoot the ball.
I'm in the class.
Shoot the ball.
And he missed it, man. It hit the front of the rim and he missed it. We would have beat him, you know. I don't know if it was, so it's, yeah.
This man said 93 points in one game. 3 years of varsity basketball, I ain't got 93 points.
Not even close.
Not even close. The man said one game. Cole, what about you?
PJ's he's a monster of a player, man.
That
Anyone
guy.
scoring that many points in a game, I don't know.
Right.
That's unreal. But what I really something that I remember was in the 3rd grade. I remember my PE teacher, Miss Inez Grant, in Bastrop, had a 6th grader on the stage, and he was handling the basketball. He had a basketball, and he was just handling things of that sort. And at that time, Calvin was in the 4th grade, so we were both watching this. And so that was when we basically grabbed basketball. I mean, we went home like, Mom, Dad, can we get a basketball? It was like that. And we went from playing, gave us a basketball, but we had our rim was a bicycle rim. We took the spokes out, hammered it up on the tree, and that's where we started. That's where we started playing basketball like that. And obviously the next for me was, hearing my name. Hearing my name in the NBA draft. The Indiana Pacers selects Kenny Natt.
Wow.
From Northeast Louisiana.
Wow.
I mean, huge. So that was an opportunity, and that's why I tried to. And did we know? Did Calvin know that he would be drafted? No. Did I know? No. I have no idea. You don't know who's walking around you, who you can impact, who you can impact, who I can. We have to be aware of who we can really impact around here, and just because her level or his level is here now, I see that as another building opportunity, growth opportunity. Feed them so they can become better and improve. So, man, I'm so excited about the opportunity to maybe even have you guys join us.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
And because we can't deliver a lot of what you have.
Right.
We can't provide that.
Vice versa.
It takes a team, a group of individuals to really touch. We're talking about the complete athlete. Total athlete. Where we're touching on the mental side, the nutritional side, what you put in your body, things like that. Nowadays, you can't make it. I mean, we did back then. By the grace of God, and just whatever. But nowadays, with your body and the food that you're eating now, you're ingesting, you have to be really conscious about that. Particularly if you want to get to that next level.
For sure. That's like 80% of the training entity of it is taking care of your body.
Oh yes.
20.
Yes. No one did that better than two of the guys. Well, three of them. I can point them out right now. Is Karl Malone, John Stockton, LeBron James. I had an opportunity to coach all those guys, and I saw it. I witnessed their body, the way they took care of their bodies and the things that they that elevated them, even at that level. I mean, people say, "Well, how did all the guys are NBA players or NFL players or whatever?" But that's an elite level right here, and then there's those guys, the Michael Jordan, the Karl Malone, the LeBron James, the Kobe Bryant. Those guys at another level.
Man, we definitely want to thank y'all again for joining us on the set.
Oh, absolutely, man.
Magical has been literally legendary. VOTV Legends Edition definitely didn't disappoint. This will not be the last that you hear from either of these gentlemen right here. Again, like they said, in the capacity of the stuff that we do, we are not the basketball gurus. Not under 93 points in the career, 93 in the game. So even as MCAL in our league gets closer to basketball as a growth development of our league, we'll have multiple things that involve these two gentlemen, as well as us being able to join forces on everything else. When we're talking about creating the total athlete and programs for the total athlete in the area, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. And make sure that you guys, if you want to reach any of either BJ or myself, just contact my number is 44 area code 440-220-1714, and BJ
318-791-2444.
And these are our direct contact numbers, so don't give them out.
Right.
You can also
let's use them properly.
Definitely.
And you can also contact us too as well if you're looking for any type of skill development training with these guys, or you want just to hear about the total program. There's a lot more that they do. Just contact us. We'll definitely bridge that gap with you all. And when you talking about the total performance of this athlete, we excited, man.
We excited too.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm like, I get emotional because I get emotional.
You're on your toes now.
Yeah, because man, this right here is big. It's big, and I'm thankful for it. Yeah, man. VOTV is brought to you by Freemium Association. Freemium Association is a accredited 501c3 that's geared around youth and community development through sports, parental enrichment, life skills, mentorship, and you name it. The list goes on.
Like you said, that is it for episode 3 of VOTV, Voice of the Village. This episode is brought to you by Kyle's Poster and Print. Make sure you go see Bobby 2 for all of your print and sending needs. They also have U-Haul rentals. Anything you need, visit Bobby 2 and Kyle's Poster Print. Episode 4 coming up. Shout out to Academy Elite 707 program is the highlight. We out.
Hey.
Works. Okay.